Hey, good evening. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's Friday Night Live, where I step into your life to give some tools, techniques, some hope, some help as you go through the process of divorce. Tonight, I wanted to talk about where am I throwing money away in my divorce. Divorces are expensive. And so I just want to give you a couple of guidelines to help you perhaps minimize some of the damage that is done financially for you. So, hey, Michael, good to see you there. Thanks for joining me tonight. So, where am I throwing money away in my divorce? Of course, you can ask questions, make comments, send me a text if you have a question. The would love to make this into a conversation, wanting you to feel comfortable as we pursue this topic. But as I was saying, divorces are incredibly expensive. So, what can you do to help minimize or just cut down some of the terrible expenses that occur when someone's going through divorce? Now, I have shared before with you the gentleman who stands out in my mind, and he was in my support group, and he mentioned, my divorce costs right now, my legal fees are 129,000, and we're not done yet. And it broke my heart. And I've had those who say they have exceeded that amount. So, what's up with that? Now, for this one gentleman, he happened to have a wife who wanted to financially destroy him, and it was taking its toll. However, this gentleman actually proceeded and succeeded out of the support group and actually reestablished his life to be once again very successful. But what pain and what cost that is heartbreaking. So again, I just want to give you some help in that area. And tonight, okay, I wanted to be a little witty, so they all start with the letter P. But hopefully that will help cement them into your mind. First of all is preparation. You have got to prepare. Many people will panic and run to their nearest attorney's office and say, I'm going through a divorce, protect me. Well, there's a time and a place for that. But first, you can do some preparation. And as I have mentioned this workbook before, seeing your attorney for the first time, this workbook is going to help you get prepared to see your attorney and to go through this process. It's a free download. So what this does is it gives you the instruction, the help on what you need to prepare, how you need the last 2 years of W-2 forms and documents on the house and all of your bank statements and all of your loan statements, all of that financial information you need to get together. Because as I have explained to you before, you're going to spend your first hour in the attorney's office telling the story of what has happened. The second hour, your attorney is going to say, these are the documents that we need to get together. You have just spent 2 hours in the attorney's office for a total of what, $700-800? You are wasting money in doing that instant reflex of jumping into that. My apologies, I have a puppy and he is whining to get up here in the limelight. So forgive him for that, and we will continue on. So this document, this workbook is going to tell you all the things that you need to get together and to consider. How do you develop a co-parenting plan that you want? How do you get all that information to prepare you before you go to the attorney's office for the first time? And that is going to help you not waste as much money. Preparation. How do you prepare? You go through this workbook. And that's true for you who are already through your divorce right now and getting ready to launch a new life. Preparation. How do you do that? You do that with guidance. You do that with sitting down and doing some planning. You don't just jump into it and buy the next house. You have to sit back. You have to look at finances. You have to look at what your goals and dreams are for the future years. And this is a process, a work in process, preparation. It matters. It matters because it limits the money that you are going to waste going through the divorce process and after the divorce process as well. Preparation, vitally, vitally important. And then also, are there things that you know that you and your soon-to-be former spouse can agree on? Maybe you can agree on how to raise the kids. Maybe this is of utmost importance to both of you, and you can work together. Oh, wouldn't that be marvelous? Without having the adversary and the attorneys fighting it out, which is also what mediation is all about. But maybe you and your spouse on your own say, look, I know we're going through this divorce. It's inevitable. We have worked countless years on trying to save this marriage. It is not savable. It will not work. We realize that, but we both agree on how to raise the kids. So let's sit down and talk about this. Let's try to come up with our own plan so that the judge doesn't have to make those decisions. Nathaniel, 100% agree. And I appreciate that coming from an attorney, a very competent and good attorney, I might add. But preparation is just so key for you to work, to get that stuff together before you get into action, before you get into battle. Prioritizing, knowing what's important. I have had people in mediation who spend more time and money fighting over things that have less value than they spent fighting for it. Prioritizing what's really important here. If it's the children, yes, you better believe that that's important. They're top priority. But if it's just stuff that can be replaced, is that really a priority? Or are your emotions getting away from you and you want to prove something in going after your item to hurt your spouse perhaps? So prioritize what's really important here to fight about. Consider that. Consider what's important. Keep your emotions out of it. You've got to prioritize keeping your emotions out of it, looking at this as a business transaction as you go through divorce. Sadly, that is what your relationship now is. It's a business transaction. So, and it comes to the next P, which I've put in here, is placement. Placement. Are you using the correct professional for what you need? For example, are you using your attorney for a therapist? That's a very expensive therapist. Find that network of experts. Get the therapist, get the pastor, get the financial person, get your attorney. Find for your issues, find the correct placement on where you need to be dealing with this, because that only makes sense and is much smarter than using your attorney for a therapist, or going to your therapist and asking legal advice, or going to your pastor and asking for legal advice. They're not the professional in that area. So make sure that you are taking your problem and your issue to the correct professional. Placement. And who are you listening to? Are you taking advice from an old friend who's been through a divorce and thinks that they're the expert now? Who are you listening to? Make sure that you are listening to the correct people. Postponing, my last and final. You need the experts to get you through this. You need help. You cannot do it on your own. And the longer you put it off, the more painful it's going to be. Bad news does not get better with time. I know it's difficult, but you are going to save yourself a lot of heartache, a lot of money, a lot of time and energy by not putting off what needs to be taken care of. What is that? What is that you are postponing? Maybe for some of you, oh, thank you. I'm really honored that you're here tonight. Nathaniel is an attorney, again, that I know in the area, and using the right professional for the right job is important. Absolutely, absolutely. We've got to be addressing the issue that you have with the correct professional. Postponing. I know that none of you want to feel as vulnerable as you do right now. You hate this because you are a person who has been in control before. In fact, in the business world or in your home life, raising the kids, you have been in control and you have it handled. You're a master. You're a master at it. But guess what? This world is like none other. And if you are putting off because you're afraid to be vulnerable, welcome to the human race. We all have times where we need help. So I want to encourage you, stop postponing the help that you need. Is it a therapist? Maybe you've never been to a therapist a day in your life. But you realize going through this divorce is torturous. It is difficult, and you are struggling. Stop postponing getting the support and the help that you need. Find that support group, find that therapist, find that pastor. Wherever you're struggling, stop putting it off, because the sooner you address it, the sooner you identify it, the sooner you can resolve it. So critically important. Of course, I want to end with some scriptures because I believe scriptures are so vital for every day of life, but especially when you're going through troubles and conflict. And so I was researching some wisdom verses. Those Proverbs and the scriptures are full of wisdom. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. And that verse speaks especially to going through the process of divorce. The days are evil. They are full of landmines. They are full of issues. So be careful how you live. And if you don't have wisdom, well then, the next verse, if you lack wisdom, ask of God who generously gives to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Wow, there's a promise. Last one, those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin. Guard your lips, find those experts, stop wasting the money. Preparation, prioritizing, placement, postponing. I hope that is of help to you and gives you some key things to hold on to wherever you're at in this process of divorce. If you are over your divorce and I still have you here as an audience, I appreciate you. I work with a lot of people who after divorce say, what now? So that is a process as well. But I hope these are of help, and please know that I am here. My first 30 minutes to an hour is a free consultation. I do divorce coaching, mediation, and also support groups. So come join us. Let's get this healing started, and let's get it over with as quickly and the least amount of damage financially as possible. I am Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, leading you every step of the way through the trauma of divorce. Have a good evening.